Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. It is at the wheel time. Les Jackson, we'd love to review vehicles and talk about them and drive them in the wild. And this time around, it is the 2021 Toyota Highlander Hybrid. I had a good opportunity to take this out on the highway. And Les Jackson, it is a large, I would say fairly large, 3-row CUV.
It is hefty.
I got 38 miles to the gallon on the highway.
That's very, very impressive.
And it's rated at 34. I always feel they rate these things pretty conservatively. And I was staying with traffic, which means doing 70 miles an hour. I was not in the eco mode. You have normal mode, eco mode, and sport. I was not in sport. I was just in normal mode. And I loved it. And the thing about this, it only has a 2.5-liter four-cylinder. And with the electric motors, it puts out 243 horsepower. But due to the torque, the instant torque of the electric motors, when you leave the line with this, if you have to accelerate, unlike many other vehicles that have a traditional drivetrain and multi-speed transmissions, this thing will go and will even chirp the 20-inch wheels. Isn't that great?
Wow.
And without trying. And it is quite impressive. Just that mileage alone. I would tell, of course, like you, I always have the neighbors that come up and say, well, what's this one? And how much does it cost? And that type of thing. And I would tell them that I got 38 miles to the gallon without even trying. And they're like, that's impossible. This is a huge vehicle.
That's right.
But I said, nope, it's possible. And if you really put it into eco mode and really did just a little bit of hypermiling, you could probably get it to 40 miles to the gallon.
You probably could. Certainly over a relatively short distance.
Well, the gas engine employs, of course, like many vehicles, the Toyota Variable Valve Timing Intelligence System. And the total horsepower, as I said, is a 243 horsepower system. This is all-wheel drive as well. Let's remember that. The transaxle mounts the electric motors coaxially rather than inline, and that results in a lighter package, less friction losses. And the other thing I have to say, the way they've packaged this thing, Les, the battery's under the rear seat. The rear floor is flat, even though this is all-wheel drive, so there's no hump whatsoever. And it really, I think, probably drives better than many of the crossovers I've driven in the recent weeks. I mean, the only other one that I think that I really stood out to me was also from Toyota. That was the Venza hybrid. But, you know, it's sort of like have your cake and eat it too. On the inside, they had what they call, what was it? Harvest beige interior. I didn't know how harvest and beige.
Nice color.
But it's a nice color. Toyota has upped their game when it comes to infotainment. Bigger display. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay finally are part of their infotainment systems. They have a volume knob and a tuning knob, an actual knob that you turn.
Toyota.
And they have lots of connectivity. 3 USB ports under in the dash compartment with a 12-volt. They also have neat things like a little shelf where you can put your phone, and they have a little socket to run the wire through so it doesn't hang out over the dash. Just thoughtful. Good things.
Nice.
They have wireless charging in the center console. And then you could also charge another phone with a wire. Really nice finishes on the interior. Great JBL sound system with 11 speakers. You know it's a great system when you can have it on low and you can still feel and hear bass and good response. It sounds good even when it's at a low volume. And I think that's always the mark of a good system. I think they've upped their game with controls. They've done away with the little chiclet buttons, which were kind of small. You still see them on the RAV4, but this is really nice. It's got the wireless charging on a flip-up panel in the center console. In the back, the rear seats are heated. Since this is the premium model, the rear seats are heated. You get all kinds of controls for heating and cooling. Lots of USB ports once again in the back. Captain's chairs in the second row, very roomy. If you're not using the third row, you can put them very far back. It's kind of limousine-like room. I would say the second row room was great and very impressive. The third row, probably about average, but the rear seat was comfortable enough. Didn't really put anyone back there, but it was decent enough if you had to ride back there. Not a lot of leg room, but decent enough. And easy controls to get in and out and flip the seats back down, and good storage when the rear seats were all the way down. So high marks from Toyota. Our color was, when it first arrived, I thought it was black, but really they call it opulent amber, which is almost like a root beer type of color, which was quite attractive, especially in the sun. Let's get into some numbers for this. The price before destination is $50,315. The destination is $11,075, which is not out of line with what we're seeing these days. So really not a lot of options other than carpeted floor mats, which were $316, I believe. So $51,808 out the door. I think if you're looking for a 3-row SUV and you don't want 24 miles to the gallon, and maybe even lower with all-wheel drive in certain cases, I think this is the way to go. To me, it appears much more modern and higher end than similar crossovers in its price point. I think Toyota's really knocked it out of the park. I like the designing on the side, where it's sort of a bulge around the rear fenders. Overall, I think it's great. I really don't have any negative about it, other than I do sometimes find the navigation system on the built-in navigation system. Sometimes on Toyota, it takes you on a goose chase to save you like 5 minutes. I don't know if you've ever found that on Toyota systems.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, but I just think that's probably the only negative to it. I put a lot of miles on it, probably 400, 500 miles, and I just really liked it. I think they did a good job. They have a couple of new things. They've upgraded their safety systems this year, and they've come out with a XSE model, which I don't think you can get in the hybrid drivetrain mode, but it's more of a sporty model. It's got some sporty seats in it, but I tell you, the version I had, the Platinum version, is amazing. Platinum is the top of the range, and I really recommend the hybrid. You can also get a V6 model on this and just a regular 4-cylinder model. But I tell you, if you can go for the hybrid, Toyota does a great job. There's the V6 model. But just really impressed. To have all-wheel drive and to have all that capability is great stuff. Hey, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. That was an at-the-wheel review of the Toyota Highlander Hybrid Platinum. And don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com for more information, reviews, and things like that. Information about the podcast and more. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.